Hello, family, and welcome to another episode of Role Model Experts Cafe. I'm your host, Dr. L, the Parent Whisperer, and today with me, I have an amazing lady, Miss Carla Jansen van Rosendaal. Did I say that correctly, Carla?
Perfect.
Okay, perfect. I was not sure, so I was doing my best there.
It's not the easiest name, I know.
So Carla is from Netherlands. I'm very excited to have her here. I have seen her in our networking community, and I thought that her message is very important. So thank you guys for tuning in and listening to this. And thank you, Carla, for carving time out of your busy schedule to be here with us today. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and why you do what you do, and then we'll go from there.
Well, what do? I work for people with stress to get stress levels down. And how did I get there? That's quite a story. Well, let's make it as small as I can. About 12 years, no, about, what is it, 18 years ago, I got my second baby, a son, after being in a wheelchair and not being able to get outside, etc., because of other problems. So, and then right after my son was born, another kid was born. And it turned out that my husband was the same father. So I got divorced. It was totally unexpectedly. And you can imagine having all these hormones in my body. That's not really the best place to be. And I thought right away, I have to do something. I have to be with these kids. I want to give them a good future. So I started to study so I can be an entrepreneur myself. So I was kind of busy, and turned out that my kids both had an autism disorder. So they needed a lot of extra time and energy from me. And at nights they were crying a lot and things going on. So I didn't sleep very well and stress was building up. But hey, you keep going. You're a mom. You want to do it the right way for your kids. So I kept going, studying, working, doing all kinds of stuff. And it got me into a burnout. And the family doctor said, like, just take it easy. Well, that's a great answer to hear. Just take it easy. We don't have to take responsibility. So I did that, got me in a second burnout.
I,
Did the
I
same.
find that statement to be actually more stressful than.
Yes, it is. But you just listen to the doctor, you believe him. So, hey, that should be enough. I mean, I knew better. I knew, but hey, I didn't want to know because I didn't have the time. So eventually it brought me three times into a burnout. And having a background of a bioenergetic therapist, which is psychotherapy with body work, and a nurse, a registered nurse for 20 years, I knew I had to do a lot more. And that's where heart coherence came on my path. And I mean, I was in a situation physically and mentally, I wanted to get out there. I did not want to stay there. I could not be there completely in a good way for my kids. And they needed me actually a lot more than other kids. So I started this heart coherence, and within 2 weeks, I always say I got really addicted to my computer. And that's because that's where you did that. You could see results of stress levels in your heart rhythm on the computer. And I did my exercises three times a day, half an hour, morning, afternoon, and evening. And within like 2 weeks, I start feeling a lot of results. And I was kind of like, oh, and that was my addiction because it felt so great. So I kept doing that. And what really surprised me that 1.5 months later, I was completely out of my burnout. I had a lot more energy, self-confidence, no more physical complaints, no more mental complaints. And I even got the courage to do what I wanted to do for 15 years and never dared to do. I started my own business. And I had like, how does that really work? Why is that? I could not understand it. Knowing a lot about the psychic as a therapist and the body as a nurse, I just could not put those two together. So I started to do the education. And I mean, it was like bang, bang, all these insights. And I figured out, Dr. L, that going around with stress, reducing stress is so easy to do. All you need to do is put a little bit of time in it. Out of 24 hours a day, if you put like 15 minutes in there, you never have to get into a burnout and be there for your kids, yourself, etc. So that's where I started my work as a stress reduction coach and trainer. And in all the times, that wasn't back in 2011. So I've been working since then with this, and I actually educated myself more and more. And then 6 years ago, I started to work with quantum technology. I'm always interested in quantum, which is basically energy. And working with the quantum technology, even got more information about how stress influences your body, your mind, how beliefs work with that, and especially, of course, how you can change your life by doing something about that. So that's my quick story.
So, of course, when it comes to parents and parenting, stress, like it's almost like attached, it comes with it, right? And the challenge that I see parents oftentimes face is that they put all of their time into giving and delivering, and they forget about themselves, right? So what you're describing about
Yes.
setting aside 15 minutes is extremely phenomenal. That just got to build a habit.
Yeah.
And I always say this, that also think about what you're teaching them through your example. That if you're showing them that I come second, that I come last, that I give and sacrifice, is that what you want your
Yeah.
kid to do, to come second, to sacrifice, or is it that you want them to put themselves first? So what you just said, putting that 15 minutes there to role model that, hey, you know what? Got to take care of me first before I can give, is an important lesson to teach the kids to take care of themselves as well. So I love
Yes.
that. So
Yeah.
awesome.
And I'm really thankful, grateful that you addressed that, even being the role model, because that's kids just do what you did, what you showed them to do. Yeah,
Exactly.
definitely.
So tell us a little bit more about the challenges that you see people face when they are either in burnout or they're facing burnout.
When they're in burnout, well, it's actually it's different for a lot of people. A lot of people don't even know they are in a burnout because we don't want to see and we don't want to admit we don't feel well or we have
Mm,
complaints. But you can have either physical or mental problems. And physical, it's like all these complaints that you have all the time, getting more sick, easier sick, having a cold, but also feel this tension everywhere, in behavior, like having this short fuse, being really irritated, frustrated, not being able to focus anymore and do your job. I mean, it's really hard to do your job. And everything in relationships, I mean, if you are not there, if you're not connected with yourself anymore, which happens because in stress your brain is not there, you're feeling the way you feel, and you actually are in touch with how you feel in your emotions, it's all down a lot. So
right.
how can you have good relationships that way? You're not in touch with yourself, so you cannot be in touch with somebody else either in a good way. And especially within families, gosh, that has so much influence on the relationship with your spouse, with your kids. They feel ignored, they don't see you, they just want to push you away, they don't want all that irritation and everything. So it really has so much influence, and it gives on children even a message, sort of like, I'm not important. So
Mm,
their self-worth, their self confidence goes really, really down. And a lot of times they even feel guilty that
right.
if they would ask for a little bit of attention and then they get this blah blah reaction, they feel guilty they even asked. So they stop asking attention. They stop going for the connection, the heart and heart connection. So it has so much influence on how they experience life and how they behave and create their own life later when they grow up.
Right. I totally agree. I think people don't realize this, that the same situation for a person who is just trying to survive versus a person who is thriving and is basically uh, growing and has the capacity and can hold the space, is that the person who is trying to survive thinks everything is coming at them. So for them, it's competition and survival, and it's very confrontational as opposed to collaborative. So your
Yes.
relationship, your interactions end up being like that. And imagine if your kids learn that from you, not because they're burnt out, but because that's how you're showing up in the world, and that's, I guess, how you're supposed to interact with others, right? So really, really important. Awesome.
Well,
So
they think it's normal. It's normal behavior. So they copy that. And that's how we get more and more that kind of behavior in the world. It's normal.
so I want to come back to quantum a little bit later. It sounds fancy and cool, and I want you to explain that for our audience a little bit more. And you also mentioned the 15-minute thing. Any other tips that our parents can start utilizing right after watching this?
Oh, yeah, a lot of tips actually. The first one actually is to start stress reduction. First, underneath that, as I said, we don't know anymore that we are stressed. I mean, did you know, by the way, that 70% of the US people experience stress and anxiety every day?
No.
Every day. It's getting normal. They don't like it, but they don't do anything about it. They, because we don't feel it, that's where we don't do anything about it. And what we feel, what we think we feel, is definitely not the same as what is in the body. I've trained over 7,000 people now in this. And because I measure everything, we can measure stress in the heart and with the quantum technology. They realize, looking at their screen, that what they feel and what is like a total difference. So that's where they actually get motivated to start stress reduction. And I always say stress reduction is not the same as relaxation, because they say, oh, I'll relax enough time. It's not the same. In your body, it's a totally different reaction. Being in relaxation mode, you still can be in a stress reaction in your body because your brain is still on and all these thoughts are still going in the background.
Right.
I mean, 90% of our thoughts are unconscious, and
Right.
they make your body react in a stress reaction or a relaxed reaction. So stress reduction, like the heart coherence, is number one. I mean, the Heart Math Institute in California, they did so much research, how much influence it has on our body, on our being, on our doing, everything. So, and there are a lot of heart coherence coaches in the USA. So search for them and learn the real stress reduction. And then 15 minutes a day. Hey, that's all you need. Then get back, that it will bring you then back more in contact with your emotions and feelings. So it increases with that also the influence on your relationships. Just look at your life. What is going on? What is there that I do not like? It makes you realize that there are circumstances you don't like. So who created that? Take responsibility and search for what is going on. What are my complaints? Do I have stress symptoms? Search for it. I mean, I have a list. It's like 4 pages of stress symptoms, and we don't even realize it. Then the third one is look at your lifestyle. Are you exercising enough? Do you eat healthy foods? Are you doing something about radiation? Because the influence of radiation is huge. We measure that in the scan, and a lot of people have so much influence, bad influence of radiation. And there are things around that you can buy to protect you from that radiation. Do you sleep enough? So lifestyle is a very important one. The fourth tip is take the time to relax, even though it's not already the same as stress reduction, but it's already a step closer to a better stress level down bringing thing. That doesn't sound real good English, but you know what I mean. And when you do that, teach yourself to focus on what you have, what you can do. I mean, all these positive things. Even when you're in a bad situation, there's always, even if it's only that big, there's always something positive in there. Search for it. because that's where you train your brain and your whole system to focus on the positive, which is a completely different reaction, literally, in your body. And then the fifth tip is actually be brave enough to let your energy be measured. Look deep down what causes that out of balance energy, your stress. Measuring is knowing. There's no hiding anymore. And that's what I encountered with the more than 7,000 people I trained, that there is no hiding. They have to admit there is something going on that I have to do something with.
Right. Awesome. And I think that brings us to quantum. So tell us a little bit more about what that is, and the measurements and what you see on the screen and what are the parameters, so our audience knows a little bit more about that, and then we can go from there.
Yeah, it's quantum technology. It's the being balance scan, and it's also used in the cosmonaut program in Russia. I don't know if the US has it too. I don't know, but I know it's done in Russia. It's no woo-woo. It's more than 50 years of research, science. It's a medical proven technology. So, and what it does, it measures the energy of your whole body, even up till your DNA level, because it measures the biophotons. It's a difficult word, but it's the smallest particle of energy. We are all energy. Everything is all energy. And it measures that in the whole body. And there where it's out of balance, it literally shows on the screen all these pictures, like the torso, and it shows exactly where to pinpoint how much it's in or out of balance. And where it's out of balance, it actually connects it to the beliefs that you have active in your mind. And also, out of what time of your life is that belief coming? So you know straight away, you don't need like years of therapy or so many sessions. You know right away what beliefs, what thoughts, unconscious thoughts are causing the energy to be out of balance. And then with the scan, it also searches for what radiation is there. Like maybe your liver is very important of, how do you say that? Radiation had a lot of influence on the liver. I mean, for a small example, somebody who had a lot of heart problems where they could not find what was going on, we did the scan and we figured out that the heart was very sensitive for the mobile phone. And what turned out, he was wearing his phone always in his pocket. So after he would take that away, of course, we said, take the phone away there. Within 2 weeks, he had no problems anymore. Wow. So that's the influence of radiation, and we don't know it.
That's amazing.
So it's all visible on a screen, and the scan itself helps you also to reset that energy. So it's a big help, and it's just quick, it's deep, it's objective. So what else do you want?
I like it. Carla, how can people find out more and connect with you?
Well, there is several ways, but the easiest way is to get in contact with me with my mail address, and that's info@life-mindcreation.com. That's one way. And I also do have a website. It's also life-mindcreation.com. It's under construction, but you can see something already. This week, the new site should come up. And that's where you will be able to find information as well. So, yeah.
Awesome. I really appreciate it. Really, really fascinating and important stuff. Things that are just coming forward when it comes to the way that we lead our lifestyle and the impact that it has. And many people, unfortunately, find out about these things way too late when they have symptoms and when they're burnt out. So it would be a great idea to be able to objectively measure and assess yourself on a regular basis. So guys, I definitely encourage you to take advantage of this, connect with Carla. This is also an important thing for us to teach our kids, that it is important for us not to do all the heavy lifting ourselves. We don't have to have all the answers. all we need is the right connections. And if you have the right connections, anything is possible, basically. So connect with Carla, role model the behavior. I'm going to put all of her information in the description box, so make sure that you check that out. And if you haven't already done so, make sure that you hit subscribe so that you can get notified of the latest experts and the gifts that they bring to our channel. And Carla, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy day to be here. I suspect that at this point it's like afternoon over there. It's not too late, but I'm glad that you were here. Any final words for our audience members before we finish?
Yeah, just be aware that you can change your life yourself. You just have to do small things for that, but they have a huge impact on yourself, your business, your family, your relationships, your health, everything.
Awesome. Well said. Thank you for being here, and thank you for sharing your message with us. Cheers.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Al. Thank you so much.
Yeah.